Hey, what's up guys, Boogie2312 here, and in today's we're going to talk about my ideas for the Black Ops 3 campaign. So recently we're getting loads of Snapchats over these past few weeks about this guy called Dr. Salim. So this Dr. Salim, he's obviously a doctor. These Snapchats have been set in black and white, which completely contradicts the 2065 time period they have. So this leads me on to what I think Dr. Salim is. So I'm going to tell you this right now. I think Dr. Salim is a Nazi scientist, because what I'll do is I'll put some Snapchats on the video right now. In case you don't follow Call of Duty on Snapchat, I will put them on right now, if of course you are interested in looking at them. So why I think Dr. Salim is a Nazi scientist is because these experiments, they most likely take place in either the 1920s or the 1940s. My best bet is the 1940s, and because Germany, obviously, they were at war in 1940, and the reason I think Dr. Salim is a Nazi scientist and not an Allied scientist is because with the the death counts at Auschwitz and Treblinka, many of the Nazi scientists, they had unlimited resources to men. With the Jews, the Gypsies, they could do whatever they want to them, and no one would say a thing. They obviously won't go to prison or anything, because Germany regarded them as Untermensch, which was subhumans, so they didn't really care. They probably would have died anywhere in a gas chamber or something. But so the Nazi scientists, they had unlimited resources, and what they did with these resources, some crazy things, because obviously they didn't care if they died. They do the most weirdest experiments ever. For example, they wanted every German person to have blue eyes. So they did some strange experiments on Jewish children, which is really harsh. To try and change their eye color, and most of them probably died throughout these experiments, and they didn't really care about that. So it's why I think he's a Nazi scientist and not an Allied scientist. Another reason why I think he's a Nazi scientist is because come 1944, 1945, Germany, they're in a bad state. They're in a bad state. With a turn back at Stalingrad and a huge surrender of like 300,000 men. There's been huge surrenders in Africa, Italy, and Europe. Germany were losing men at a huge rate, which a rate they probably could not sustain, because the Soviets had over 10 million people in the east. The Allies had millions of people in the west, and they were closing on Germany very, very fast. And this is why leads to believe that Nazi scientists kind of, they wanted to create super soldiers, because obviously they cannot replace the men that would die. So Germany, they have a thing where like they always think the biggest is the best, and this is shown throughout history with the Me-262, which is the first jet fighter. They had the V1 and V2 rocket, which was the first ballistic missiles. So Germany, their scientists were top class. They were they were the best in the world, and they were obviously experimenting on how to make the human mind, the brain, more advanced than the Allied soldiers and Soviet soldiers to counter their huge numbers, because on some fights, the Soviets outnumbered the Germans 10-1, like on the older fronts. So they could not sustain the war. The war would be end in a few months if they didn't make some just out of this world, just unordinary. So yeah, that's why I think they made they started to do experiments on people, or Jews obviously, or Gypsies. Not going to experiment on Aryan people, because they obviously cared if they died. But with the Jews, they didn't really care. They'll experiment anything. So that's why I think Dr. Salim is a Nazi scientist, and how I think they kind of evolved. Let's turn forward future here to like 2000, 2010 or whatever. I think scientists kind of picked up on Dr. Salim's works and started to carry on what he started, because obviously the war ended May 1945, so he obviously couldn't continue his work. So I think the scientists probably started to have a look at his work and started to evolve that work he did, and started to create these super soldiers, which are now obviously super soldiers that are now here in 2065. So that's why I think Dr. Salim is an Nazi scientist. And this could also mean for the campaign that we could be having time jumps, like in Black Ops 2, sometimes you're in 1960s, the Cold War era, and sometimes you're in 2025. This could mean in Black Ops 3 could be 2065, and then you can jump back to 1942 or something like that. I think that would be really, really cool, because then I know a lot of people wanted World War II. I personally wanted World War II, so that would obviously be really cool for the people who wanted World War II games. So yeah, I think there'd be time jumping from 1945 to 2065. Anyway, that's my idea of what I think Dr. Salim is and what these Snapchats are all about. Again, we'll get our full reveal tomorrow, April 26th. So what I could be saying right now could be totally irrelevant coming tomorrow, or it could be true. Again, it's up to speculation. We really do not know. But if you did like the video, if you could leave a like, I'd be grateful. And if you got any other ideas of who you think Dr. Salim is, of course you can leave it down in the comment section below. And thanks for watching.